Welcome to Media Melanie Talks TV. I'm Melanie, and I'm back to talk about Silo on Apple TV+, Season 2, Episode 5, called Descent. And my reaction to this episode is very similar to that of Bernard dropping that F-bomb towards the end. Seriously, is this all we're getting? It might be the definition of a filler episode. Yes, there were a few standout things that did happen, such as Lukas looking into Salvador Quinn's letter, the discovery that there are, in fact, tunnels in the silo, which I'm sure will be coming into play to get Juliette back from Silo 17 over to Silo 18. And as far as I'm concerned, the sooner the better. It was nice to see some confirmation that Solo is not who he says he was. Juliette did a little bit of investigating after being quite suspicious that in fact he was not telling the truth. The wheels started turning when he let it drop that he was in that classroom with his friend Lapis, and time-wise, that would have only made him 10 or 11 years old at the time of that rebellion. Certainly not old enough to be the shadow of IT. And Solo's lies are starting to catch up with him when Juliette discovers, as she's searching for this helmet, that, in fact, there's a picture of Solo, the shadow of IT, and guess what? It looks nothing like this Solo, which raises the question, who actually was he? If he was a young child, perhaps he was put in the vault, someone told him to stay there, and like a good kid listening to authority, he's done his job. And now I wonder at this point, has he actually convinced himself that in fact he was the shadow of IT because he's been living by himself seemingly for so long? And what else has he done to do what he said he was going to and stay in the vault and protect the silo? We saw those two dead bodies outside of the door, so it does seem like he's taking this job very seriously. He is protecting the vault. But if he's lying about his actual identity, whether or not he believes this or not, what else is he lying about? He seems to have a lot of information from the before times. He was talking about Romeo and Juliet in this episode. And again, that begs the question, how does he know so much when it seems that Bernard, who is the actual head of IT in Silo 18, knows so little? He was quite surprised at the discovery of Salvador Quinn's letter and wants to know, in fact, what the code was saying. But I keep going back to the fact that shouldn't the head of IT know more? How is Bernard being kept in the dark? Is he a big puppet in all of this? He's by far my favorite character in the show. He plays a bad guy so well. Props to Tim Robbins. His badness gives life to all of these episodes that aren't necessarily quite as captivating as, let's say, I don't know, season 1. It's also just kind of making me wonder, is he a pawn in all of this and he thinks he's doing a great job of protecting the silo, doing everything for the order like Solo is, when in fact he is a puppet of it all? I mentioned in a past episode that this could be like From. If you've watched From on MGM+, you know there are some theories that this is some sort of big social experiment. Is there a big overseer who is essentially using the heads of IT in all of these different silos for their own agenda? And if so, what exactly is the agenda? What is the big secret? Is it all just what transpired that put people in these silos in the first place? Is it that, as I've been talking about, maybe they're not even on Earth and all of these clues about the before times are red herrings, that they are not even on Earth because Earth was in fact destroyed and now they are on another planet or they are on the moon? What secret could be so big that Bernard, the head of IT, doesn't know? And obviously he wants to know. He's enlisted Lukas from the mines to help him put this hard drive back together, which I never quite understood. Why did he even smash it in the first place? It goes to show he is doing his job. He's following the order and the pact, but at the same time, does he not want to know? If I was him, I would have maybe locked it away for future use should my curiosity be piqued. I would not destroy that because who knows what else is on there. Circling back, we now know that there is something on there about the tunnels, which again will likely be coming into play soon because we need Juliette back in Silo 18. I am so bored with the stories over there. Was it cool watching Shirley and Knox make that descent down into the down deep where they are going to be protected? Yeah, you know what? That was pretty cool. But everything else about this story, I don't care anymore. I just want Juliette back in Silo 18. I want the tunnels to be discovered. You know what? Yeah, yes, Shirley and Knox were framed for Judge Meadows' death, but to me, that is just not a meaty enough story to keep me engaged. In fact, I found myself scrolling quite a bit during this episode. I didn't even take notes because I just am not impressed. We are at the halfway mark of the season. There are 10 episodes total. We're now through episode 5. And yes, you know what? Every season does have episodes that need to move the plotline forward. But unfortunately, this episode, coming off of the last one, I guess my expectation was that more would actually happen. Okay, yes, we did get the discoveries. We find out Solo's not who he says he was. That's not a shock to me. That's something they've been setting up and was quite predictable. So what are they going to do to wow me moving forward here? Even this idea where Solo is feeling very desperate to get Juliette to use her engineering skills to pump the water out from his silo to save him because he thinks that in 10 months, the water will overtake IT and Solo's safe spot will no longer be there. Who cares? It's 10 months from now. And first of all, do not give us 10 months of Juliette in this silo leading up to it. Clearly, there is much more of a sense of urgency for Juliette to find the helmet, get back over to her own silo. Obviously, the pumping of the water will come into play because it makes sense that she needs these tunnels to get back if, in fact, she cannot get the helmet connected properly and working to walk back over to Silo 18. I will say there was an unexpected twist I did not see coming. Well, maybe a little bit. Camille Sims being for the rebellion, she is digging herself a hole. What is Bernard going to do with this information that Camille is in fact helping the rebellion? It is not going to end well. And now her poor husband, Robert, is slumming it as the judge, taking over Meadows' position, solidifying that he will probably never, ever, ever be Bernard's shadow. He will never become the big boss. And that's got to be a real hit to the ego because that is something that he's clearly been working towards. With the whole impeachment thing, Bernard knowing about it, him finding out about Camille, I don't know, the Sims, they may not be in for a very positive future. So instead of going over all these plot points, which really I did not find compelling, I'd rather talk about where we are going here in season 2 and the things that I really would like to see, starting again with Juliette making her way back over to Silo 18. I want to see some tunnels. When she does make it back over, who's going to be the first one to find her? There could be a lot of action surrounding that. The discovery that Juliette is alive will be huge and have a major impact. In fact, while she's trying to come back and warn them to not rebel because a mechanical gets blamed, people end up going outside and everybody ends up dying, I'm wondering if her return itself will spark a rebellion because she's not dead and now people will know that you can leave the silo, you can survive, and you can return. Something I mentioned before as well is this is giving Fallout vibes hard. We've discovered that the vaults in Fallout are all connected. So this discovery does seem imminent. But what I really want to know is, okay, they're all connected. Where is the master hub? Where is this control coming from? Who made the silos? Is it somebody in the city who is controlling these, or is there more of a master silo? Silo number 1, for instance. Where is it? Who's in charge? Is it still alive? How many of these silos are still alive, or have the majority of them been dead due to rebellions? Could Silo 18 be one of the only ones that is operational and still has people running? Could Bernard be the only head of IT left amongst the Silo society? These are the questions, the big picture things that I really want to know, because some of this week to week, nitty gritty stuff, the Knox and Shirley of it all. But I guess if I had to pinpoint the most interesting storyline in Silo 18, right now it's got to be Bernard and Lukas and this letter and the hard drive and all of these discoveries that hopefully will keep the action moving, build some momentum, so that way we are getting some big reveals. Something I mentioned before as well, the twist at the end of season 1 was so good, and maybe my expectations are too high for a bigger picture reveal here in season 2. but I'm holding out hope. We've only got 5 more episodes left. Again, we are halfway through the season and I need more. Juliette has been away from her friends and loved ones for half the season now. She needs to go back. And okay, fine. They're building the story. They're showing the relationship between her and Solo. Not sure how that will shake out. I doubt Solo will end up leaving his silo because, again, he does take this job very seriously that was given to him. So, I don't know. I expected more out of this episode and really the season in general. However, because season 1 was so giving with that big twist, I am optimistic that we will get some reveals that will be satisfying enough. But until then, let's speed it up here, Silo. I was just not as into this episode. And I'm wondering, were you into this episode? Did you like it? Do you think that we're getting enough? Is the story meaty enough to keep us all vested? Let's hope next week gives more. Next week's episode, 6, is called Barricades, and the description reads, Bernard enacts a plan to root out Knox, Shirley, and Walker. Billings takes a stand. Solo saves Juliette's life and wants something in return. Okay, I guess that's promising. Obviously, Solo will save Juliette's life because we're not just having Juliette dying from this wound. Solo will probably get some medical supplies, make sure that this wound doesn't actually kill her. But let's just hope episode 6 gives us a little bit more. So, drop a comment, let me know what you think. If you're looking for other shows to watch, let's say Silo isn't your thing right now, I get it. You could check out the Dexter Original Sin premiere on Paramount Plus with Showtime. I actually just dropped a video about that, asking, do we actually need an origin story? So if you're a Dexter fan, go check that out, see if you agree with my sentiments. But if you need something else to watch that is just the perfect watch for December, do not miss Black Doves on Netflix. It is a festive AF Christmas spy thriller. It stars Keira Knightley, Ben Whishaw. I found it so entertaining. There are 6 episodes. It's coming back for a second season. It is a great watch for December, so don't miss it. And go check out my coverage. If you're intrigued, my video for Black Doves gives you 7 reasons why you should be streaming it this month. And then I also give a reaction and review for the first season. I loved it. So again, do not miss Black Doves on Netflix. It's a good one. I'll be back next week with more Silo coverage. If you are an Apple TV Plus fan, obviously you are, you may want to also check out my Bad Sisters coverage. It's giving a great mystery this season. It's a dark comedy, another great show on Apple TV Plus. And of course, we have Severance coming in January, which I will also cover, so stay tuned for that. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and like this video, drop a comment, let me know what you thought about this episode of Silo, and be sure to tune in next time. Media Melanie, clicking off.